Welcome back to another Mission 500. A to Z is what we're doing. We are on T today, okay? So this is our last week to finish the alphabet. Hopefully you've enjoyed it and hopefully you've grasped some tips or something that you can use into your training. So what we're doing today? Today is T for Twisted Jasmine. As we do Twisted Jasmine, we're really going to work on a thoracic spine as well, but there's going to be a version where if you can't quite twist, don't worry. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about so you've got some idea of what this move looks like, and then I'll talk you through it, okay? I'm going to do it on spin first, just so you can see all angles, and then I'll do it on static. Alrighty. Okay, so that is your Twisted Jasmine. So I'm going to pull back on static. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on getting into your side pose. You can do a side pose from the ground, you could do a side climb up into it, you could do what I did and I inverted into it. It's completely up to you, okay? So I went invert, hook my outside leg, I would do for an outside leg hang or a Gemini, but like I said, you can always side climb into a side pose position. So you need to make sure you've done a warm up and you've definitely warmed up like thoracic spine, like the twists. So what I mean by that is you can always come to the floor. So this can be part of your warm up. Is once you've done your normal warm up, obviously do your cat and cows and stuff because they're always good to work through the spine. But also then take your hand behind, one hand behind your head, and we're going to take that elbow up towards the ceiling, bring it back down. Elbow up, down, elbow up and down. Okay, make sure that you've done both sides, because that will feel so much nicer when you do this move. That's just one that you can do. The other one that we can do is laying down on the floor. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to take both knees over to one side. So we're going to try and keep the shoulders down on the floor. I'm going to keep the knees together, and we're going to take the knees over. And you're going to try and keep squeeze, and keep the knees together as much as possible. Bring those knees back up. And then we're going to do the same to the side. Now you may find that one side's easier than the other, so you've got a weakness one side. I know I have. This side's always a little bit tougher. So squeeze. And you can do that several times, okay? As many reps as you'd like, as many as feels good. Obviously I'm going through it quite quickly right now, okay? So you can slow it down. So once you've done that, you can also do these laying one side onto the hip onto the floor. And then from here, taking your top hand off. So I'm going to take the hand up towards the ceiling, and I'm looking at it, and I'm going to take it down towards the floor, squeezing the shoulder down, again, not allowing the knees to come apart and not allowing my hips to shift back, okay? So you just go as far as you can go, so you can squeeze, and then you can bring it back. And you can go again, squeeze, and bring it back, and of course make sure you do both sides, okay? So those are some that I would definitely include into this as part of your warm-up for this move. Working on your shoulders as well. Making sure you can roll the shoulders back, so you're thinking about shoulders like rolling back, open the palms, and then rolling forwards, open back, forwards, blah, 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 okay? So there's lots that you can do to help you with your training. That's why you should know what you're doing in your session before warming up, because then you can incorporate in your warm-up the movements that you're going to do in your lesson. It's going to help you. It makes sense? The other one that you'll want to do is work on leg flexibility. So leg kicks in the warm-up would be really good. You can always come down in a straddle fold, holding onto the elbows, sinking side to side as well. Think about lifting the tailbone up, because we need to get into that straight leg position, okay? So there's a lot going on in this move. Alrighty, other things, hamstrings, okay? Making sure you do some step and curls in your warm-up, get those hamstrings activated, because obviously the first thing we're going to do is grip on the pole. Alrighty, so that's the floor stuff, that's the warm-up stuff. So once we have warmed up and we've done all that and we feel ready to go, we are going to get into your side pose. Get into the side pose however you feel comfortable about getting side pose. Like I said, we can just do this from the ground, so I'm going to show you from the ground. Might be a teeny weeny bit low, my bottom foot, it might go to the ground, but we'll soon find out. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the inside leg up nice and high. It's going to lead away. So I'm going to work my hamstrings, so hook, okay? From here, I'm going to place both hands just above that knee, and I'm going to sweep this leg behind. So here, lift, and go behind the pole, okay? So the first one you can do is what I call like a baby twister, Jasmine. So I'm going to bring that bottom leg forwards, so it's like I'm folding it into my hip, keeping the toes pointed, and this arm, you want to make sure it goes above the knee, okay? So from here, rather than on the shin, above the knee, keep the chest lifted, and you're going to try and push the back of the knee into the pole, really try and point the toes, engage the quads as much as you can, okay? So both hands are above, both legs are straightened, so we're twisted over. Hook, pull up, come back down, okay? So that's the first one. I really like that move. I actually prefer it myself rather than the twisted one. So what happens now with the twisted one? So what we're going to do is whichever leg is hooked, the same side hand's going to come off the pole. So making sure the chest is lifted and we've got a good pull, you'll feel a lot happier about releasing the hand. If we're too close and feel a bit unsteady, like, oh, you'll be a bit wobbly, okay? So we're going to start to release. So just like we did when we opened up to the chest, that's basically what we're going to do, but you're going to do it slower, because if you do it too fast, you're going to create momentum. So we're going to release, then we're going to go around, and then what we're going to do is we're going to, as we open the chest, take the hands behind the back, then we're going to find the pole. And that's the bit that's the most trickiest on this, okay? So what you're doing, imagining this bottom leg is straight, okay, this one is hooked. So you can just do this from the floor. So I'm here, I'm going to open, and I'm going to try and grab onto the pole, okay? Doing it off the pole, of course, is a lot easier. I'm going to get on the pole, like, holy baby, where the hell is the pole? So I'm going to show you, I'm going to go this direction so you can see what my hand is doing. Doesn't look as good this way, but you'll be able to see, okay? That's the whole point of the tutorial, right? So we're going to hook, taking the leg behind. Okay, so from here, my leg that's hooked, I'm going to take the same side hand. So I'm going to make sure the bottom leg is forwards, take the top hand off, and I'm going to go behind my back. So I'm going to open up the chest, and then see if I can grab onto the pole as much as you can, okay? Thumb is up. From here, keep bringing that bottom leg forwards, and then see if you can straighten the top leg. Try and really push the back of the knee into the pole. Squeeze, pull back up. Does this make sense? Okay? Awesome, okay, so that's that bit. If you can't straighten, so if you can't reach the pole, then you're just going to keep both hands above the hook knee and work on that one until you've got a little bit more mobility there. Okay? Does that make sense? And you can just work on your mobility, and it'll be a really good one to track your progress. Like, oh, now I've got it. If you've got it, okay, so what's going to happen is as you start to straighten the leg, you're going to feel like your back is on your arm, okay, which is fine. Whereas normally when you've got both hands up, you're supporting yourself here, so instead the support is coming from behind. Yeah? So hook with the top leg, bringing that bottom leg forward, so it's sitting in the groin, increasing the grip there. Our body is twisted, our hand is behind the back. So I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to do it facing you, and I'm going to do it from an invert, okay, so those of you that are a bit more advanced. So remember, working on getting the hips high to be able to go straight into a hook, okay, and if you have a look at the other Mission 500 tutorials, you will have seen that we've covered quite a bit on how to get your hips up for a chopper or for an invert. And it's not always just core work, okay, so as we go up and hook, then I'm going to pull up and reach my hands above. So chopper first. Hips high, push the back of the knee into the pole, point the toes down. I'm just going to lower my inside leg down, so it's going to help me to power up. So hands going above the knee, okay? Now I'm going to bring that bottom leg forwards, then I'm going to bring that bottom hand above, okay? So I'm bringing the toes towards the camera, if you like. So I'm going to take my top hand off, I'm going to twist away from the pole. That's why it's really important to warm up the back first. Then see if you can grab onto the pole. And if you feel good here, we're going to try and straighten the top leg. Okay, keep the chest lifted. Pulling the shoulders back. Bend, release the bottom hand, grab up, and you can come back down, however way you like. Does this make sense? So this is your twisted Jasmine. So that is how we give it a go, guys. So you can work on just the baby version with both hands above. You can do this from a side pose, even if you're a beginner. You can work on getting your hands above. You might not even want to straighten your top leg today. That's okay, that will come later on. So when you're here, we can go here, okay? So normal side poses here, or hand in between. This one, we can just work on taking the hand above. You can also work on turning your chest away as well, just to work on that positioning a little bit better for the next move. Yeah, if you feel good, you can see if you can take the top hand off. Yeah, so you're still in this twisted position, just haven't got that hand on. Does make it a little bit, you probably feel like you're going to spin. So anytime you feel like you're going to spin and you've got one hand on the pole, just twist the pole. What I mean by that is if you imagine that you're turning the pole, you will have so much more control. So anytime you feel like you're going to spin off, squeeze that pole like hell, twist it. If you twist one direction, it's going to help you spin a bit more. So you know you've got to twist the other way. And it will slow you down. You're like, oh yeah, now I've got it. I've got this. Yeah? So give that a go. That is your twisted Jasmine, guys. Any questions, just shout. And of course, if you want to come and join in a progression order, you know where we're at, go and check out our website or come and message me and we'll have a chat. Anyway, right, I'll see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, see you later.